When I was very young, a teenager, a man came into my life who was 22 years older than I was, and I thought I was in love with this man. He had certain personality traits that were controlling, he was jealous, and I didn't really understand exactly what that meant and how disruptive it could be. And we made a life together. It was sort of as though I grew up and he didn't. So as I got a little bit older, I started to make goals, and I wanted to have a house, so I found a house and put a down payment on it. And somehow he just never caught up with the growing up part, and he was always very insecure and very intimidated by the fact that I was taking care of certain things. And he was very jealous of my friends and just jealous of my accomplishments. He would put me down. I was almost trained all my life to be able to cope with that kind of personality, because what my mother was very critical. So I made sort of a half-decent life for myself. I mean, I had a business and a nice home, and so we had what looked like a perfectly normal life. 24 years into our relationship, he became diabetic, and so he hired a personal trainer, and his trainer sold him illegally imported steroids. His personality became violent, really. I mean, yelling and shouting and putting me down a lot. And I started to feel very depressed about the situation. There just came a time where I just had enough, and I said I was leaving. And when I said I was leaving, everything blew up. He held a gun to my head at one point. He vandalized my car. He would break into the house, and he would tell me what I had done all day because he'd hired a private investigator to follow me. It got to the point where I didn't know which way was up. I was so confused, I was so scared, and I ended up going to the Edmonton Police Service, and the spousal violence team put me in contact with some people who specialized in this field. I joined a women's group, and it was odd hearing these other women with the same story that I had. These men were all doing similar things. It was really helpful for me because I got to see that it wasn't me. I wasn't the one who deserved this. It wasn't, it wasn't because of me. It wasn't any shortcoming on my part. It was his personality trait, being an abuser. And that was really helpful. And also, when the actual move came, it was physically impossible to move without help because he had contacted the mover that I had hired and was trying to find out where I was moving to. So the only way I could move was with a special agency that actually specializes in moving women who are leaving abusive relationships, and there's an unmarked truck and there's a lot of security around it. So that made it a lot easier for me. The time after I first moved was scary. I felt lost. I really needed a lot of help, and I got the help I needed. Well, I'm now retired, and what I want to do is to give back. And one of the things that I do is that I go into schools, and we talk about healthy relationships, we talk about unhealthy relationships. I tell those kids all the things that I wish I had known when I was their age. These kids can be so easily engaged on the internet. They have beliefs that, once you start dating somebody, you have a responsibility to keep dating them. One of the things I talk about is, think about what you want your life to be. Make plans for yourself. Decide what you want. Set goals for yourself. And if someone is treating you in a way that doesn't fit into the life that you want, then you have to decide whether or not it belongs in your life. It's all things that as a 50-year-old I know, and yet I didn't know when I was 15, and if I had known, my life would have been totally different. It makes me think that perhaps my wasted years weren't really wasted because I can contribute to somebody else. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a whole lot of different organizations to make sure that the kids that we have are safe, to make sure that they have the support that they need to have. Helping is a privilege. It's something that feeds our soul. It's something that makes us feel proud of ourselves. It's just part of taking care of our community. We need each other.